At the age of 24, I have developed a keen interest in exploring abandoned sites since I was 19. Although I have not come across any monsters or evil spirits during my explorations, I have stumbled upon traces and markings left by them. Hence, I do believe in their existence. However, this story does not revolve around them. Back in 2007, during winter, I had traveled to Noyabrsk to attend to some family matters. I had carried my backpack along with me, wondering if there were any abandoned sites that I could explore. My backpack was equipped with warm pants, a sweater, and a jacket to keep me comfortable. Additionally, I had packed a knife, which was forged for me at a blacksmith fair in Ukraine. It was an excellent knife that cut sharply and sat comfortably in my hand. I also carried a pair of medium binoculars to examine objects from afar and a mini first aid kit to treat scratches and bruises. To satiate my hunger, I had packed some stew and mineral water, along with a compass and a simple map printout from Yandex. Although I was not an expert photographer, I had my cell phone with me to take some general shots for my memory. I had also packed some other essentials, including a flashlight, batteries, Swiss Army knife, and duct tape. And yes, I had an icon with me too, but that's a story for another time. I did not carry it during that trip. I had come across a deserted military unit about 30 kilometers away from the city, and it appeared to be a typical abandoned facility. After scrolling through pictures of the site on the internet, I decided to embark on the adventure. The next morning, I woke up early, hitchhiked to the city outskirts, and took a regular bus to reach the location by 1 p.m. As I stepped out of the bus, the gray sky and the snow crunching under my boots welcomed me. I headed towards the military unit, equipped with my backpack, map, and compass. From afar, I could see a hill with tall gates and two-story buildings on either side. As the wind started to pick up, I planned to explore the area, take some pictures, and perhaps collect a souvenir before returning by 4:30 p.m., leaving enough time to grab a bite. My first stop was the nearest building, which turned out to be empty, with all its contents removed. The place was dusty and covered with snow, but not particularly filthy. I snapped a couple of general photos, but couldn't quite discern the building's purpose. Next, I headed towards the main building, as the blizzard outside began to intensify. I ventured inside through the large open gate, only to discover several crates filled with bolts, an unexpected find. I grabbed a few bolts and also spotted a Soviet ruler on a shabby table, which I decided to take with me. After eating and capturing some pictures, I checked my watch and realized it was already 3 o'clock. I needed to explore the last building as quickly as possible. The wind outside was so strong it was almost unbelievable, making it difficult to run to the third building. I struggled to locate the entrance, but eventually discovered a loading hole where several pipes lay scattered about. Despite the deafening noise, I yelled loudly and couldn't hear my own voice. Eventually, I managed to make my way inside. The corridor was long, with no snow yet, but the wind was already sweeping through it. As I explored the various rooms and descended to the lower floor, I noticed a glimmer of light at the end of the hallway. I remained composed and calm, but drew my knife from my belt just in case. As I crept closer, I caught a whiff of a pungent urine odor and noticed a pool of it on the floor. Clearly, someone had taken up residence here. I cautiously made my way towards the light in the corner. As I entered the large room, I immediately felt a sense of discomfort. The room had a high ceiling and a fire burning in the distance, enclosed in cement blocks, with pieces of meat lying on top, already roasted. A bulky man with Afro-style hair sat with his back towards me, slurping on his food, but the sounds were barely audible due to the echoing pipes. As I cautiously tried to step back and assess the situation, I noticed a pile of scattered items in the far corner of the room, a cleaver on the ground, a pool of blood, and frozen chunks of meat. This sight made me wonder if there was an escaped convict or a homeless person hiding in the room. I was filled with horror as I realized the chunks of meat in the corner were human flesh. My body was paralyzed and I didn't know what to do. Meanwhile, the man stood up and approached the fire. I saw that he was over 2 meters tall, and I knew my knife wouldn't be enough to protect me. He took a piece of meat and sat back down to eat it. It dawned on me that I had to get out of there as quickly as possible. If he returned to the corridor and found me, I would be done for. In a hurry, I tiptoed towards the exit and then bolted out into the street. The 5-kilometer journey back was a nightmare. I vividly remember running through the knee-deep snow, gasping for breath and crying. Every few seconds, I looked back over my shoulder, fearing that the stocky man would be chasing after me. I even got a little disoriented along the way, but somehow I managed to make it back to the village. After that day, I was completely traumatized. To this day, I always carry a gun with me whenever I go exploring. I know it's unlikely that the person I saw in that building was a monster. Most likely it was just a regular human being. But every time I look at the bolts and the old ruler that I took from the site, I can't help but feel a shiver run down my spine.